John Harrison Built Different podcast where we dive into all aspects of construction. And we're blessed to have an awesome guest, Kevin Fuller, here with KMF Painting. He's been painting since he's a teen. And I got a question for everybody out there, but most importantly for Kevin. Can anybody just paint? I go to houses and they're like, well, what if you take the paint off the project and I paint it myself? Can we just do that? Because they just think anybody can paint. So, Kev, first question. Can anybody just go and do a quality paint job?
Can anyone just go do a quality paint job?
Yeah.
Not without the knowledge.
Okay, so explain.
So there's a lot of knowledge that goes into painting.
Okay.
Products that you use, the applicators that you're using, and what kind of finish you want. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go. Anybody can pick up a brush and dip it in a pot and paint something. What it looks like is a different story.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think I painted in kindergarten. I don't know if I would paint my house.
Yeah. You can do some finger paint. I had guys that thought they were finger painters.
Yeah. So, one thing I learned from you back when we first started working together was I was doing a flip house, and it had all stained and poly trim on all the windows and doors. And I was under the impression that this was going to be a huge project. It was going to be a messy project. You were going to have to sand down all the stain and poly off of all the woodwork. And you came in, I wanted you to come out and look at it because I needed an exact price. And you came out and you're like, oh yeah, there's no problem. Yeah, I got some products here. We'll get this done easy, no problem. So Kev, I wanted you to talk a little bit about sticks, the product that you used to go over the poly and
and
the stain.
So like over polyurethane woodwork, nowadays they make the products where you can just go right over them and then do your sanding after, which makes it a lot easier. Like back when I first started, we used to do stuff like that, sand the poly off, prime it with oil, go back and sand it again, hit it with stain kill wherever it's bleeding through, because most of the old woods have tannins in them that come through, so you have to stain kill it before you can prime it again and paint it. Sticks is amazing. They make extreme bond primers from Sherwin-Williams, different bonding primers that are meant to go right over the poly, and a lot of people don't know that.
And so now it goes over the poly, and what does it do so that it'll accept paint? What is kind of the chemical makeup of that? Not real diving into.
Yeah. Well, I know it works well. It sands down really nice, and it's just it's a game changer for me.
It holds the primer.
Oh, it holds it. Yeah, it holds paint really good.
I mean, I don't know oak from prime or spruce, so how do I know what my house has this poly on it? When do I know I have to use that?
Well, if your house is polyed, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean.
So poly, it has a really shiny sheen, and there's stain under it, so you can still see the grain of the wood and knots and stuff. But it's got a nice shiny sheen on it. I think is that what you were asking?
Yeah, no, I'm walking through a house that I'm looking to buy, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm looking at. So.
And it's all natural woodwork, and you want to paint it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's products out there that you can just go right over the urethane.
Ah, cool.
Awesome. Basically, yeah. The sticks, or you can use an oil-based primer right over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't want to use latex over oil because it'll peel. A lot of people don't know that too. It could be previously painted woodwork, and there's a way to test it. You can use some acetone on a rag and wipe it on there. And if you get like a gumminess, like it's dulling or whatever, it's taking the pigments out of the latex. If it's an oil-based paint, previously been painted with oil, it'll be like chalky. It'll just clean it. And if that's the case, you need to prime it with an oil-based primer or a product like sticks or something that's going to adhere to that oil before you paint it.
And then after you do that, can you use latex after?
Yes.
You can?
Absolutely, Yep. Because of that oil-based primer or the sticks, it's going to give you a new canvas to work with.
Oh, wow.
But if you paint directly, with latex paint over that old oil paint, you're gonna have a lot of problems.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It's
a lot
gonna
of
peel off
homeowners.
like a sheet.
Yeah.
If anyone has that type of issue, like it happens on doors a lot,
Yep.
old houses, like the flip houses we've done, I've
Yeah.
had to do that with doors on your flips. Yeah, a lot of the old woodwork, the weighted windows, the 6/6s and stuff.
I don't know if anyone's seen any of our before and afters for some of our flips, but that's Kevin who puts the final touch on, and it's dramatic. So, but Kev, I want to ask you another question. You've talked about a couple different products and stuff, but what is specific brand names that you love to see or work with? And is there anything out there that you wouldn't love to work with as far as types of paint?
So I'm a fan of Benjamin Moore, and most of my customers are. When most people just start talking about the paint, what do you use for paint? I use Benjamin Moore. Oh, we do too. Okay. So you must have painted before. No, so like, I prefer Ben Moore, and there's a lot of great products from Sherwin-Williams that I'll use. A lot of their whites and ceiling paints and primers that I use for new constructions and stuff like that. I'll mix and match products sometimes on my own.
I've been a big Ben Moore guy only because I've heard it from a lot of painters out there.
It's
But
phenomenal to work with for me. I mean, it flows off the brush nice,
Yeah.
and unlike some paints that could be thick and gluey
Yeah.
and drag, and you have to add additives or a little H2O to get the latex to thin out so it'll lay down nice.
so
I stay away from big box store paint because most of it is the pigments aren't right, or I mean, there's a reason it's being sold to the consumer in a big box store at cheap prices. I think. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that
pay
makes
anywhere
sense.
from $70 to $90 a gallon for the paint. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know that we've been doing projects together, and you've seen some things that you recognized, and you've actually. I'm a huge Ben Moore guy, but you've said actually Sherwin-Williams has a little better thing for this particular, and we've kind of gone back and forth because of your knowledge of working with so many different paints out there that you know sometimes certain things work better than others.
Yeah, and sometimes the comparable products from Ben Moore and Sherwin-Williams, if it calls for a lot of volume, we'll
Yep.
go, well, of course we're going to save money. We're in business, so we'll go with that product to save money. But they both do pretty much the same things, the bonding primers and stuff we're talking about. The paint, I prefer, I'm a big fan of solid body stain, latex stain.
Okay.
It sits on the house nicer, it's a little less maintenance.
Is that an exterior or an interior product?
Exterior. Well, they make all different stains, but I'm talking exterior. Like there's a Wood Lux now, it used to be Arbor Coat from Ben Moore. Phenomenal product, big fan of that. Sherwin-Williams makes one, Super Deck. They change a lot of the chemical makeups from every year, so it's hard for us experts or us professionals to keep up with it. It's almost like a full-time job keeping up with the product change. But I use the ones that work and have worked for me, and the ones I can stand behind. But if a customer is insistent that I use this or that, or they have the paint on site, if I see a PPG from, that some of that paint I've used interior wise from Home Depot and stuff, and it's not bad paint.
Yeah.
But I just prefer Ben Moore because I know it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not against using other paint.
Yeah.
Some of them take 3 coats. I mean.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense. So I know you've seen a lot. I know you've been in the industry a long time.
No, yeah.
And I know you've been in a lot of houses and you do a lot of work for different homeowners. Anything that you notice as far as a common mistake that homeowners may make, and then you have to come in and kind of bring things back to life again? Is there something in particular that you notice that happens more than other things?
Nobody pays attention to the door hinges and doorknobs. Nobody pays attention to their trim, face plates.
That makes a lot of sense.
Nobody pays attention to it. They'll say, we'd like to freshen this place up. It hasn't been painted for 15 years, and I'm looking, and I immediately go to these old gold, or with the door hinges they used to use, which was a common door hinge, the gold ones, and they get pitted out and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so we're gonna spend thousands of dollars to make your house beautiful, and you're gonna have a crappy pitted out doorknob and hinges. You know, they don't. I mean, I recommend it. I go through the whole project because I see it from start to finish in my head. I'm looking at all the details.
Yes.
The main meat of the work is common for me, you know, patching holes and this and that, making things look good. But I'm looking, so when it's done, you're not going, oh, I wish I did that. I throw the idea out there, I give you the option, and we'll change them on site, and it's no extra cost. If you buy the hinges and stuff, I'm more than glad to put them on your doors and stuff for you. I don't know how many guys do that, but that's how we
You've done it for me many times, and it
and
really
people are
makes
so
a
grateful.
massive
They're like, I would have
difference.
never have thought of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's why I'm here. You know what I mean?
You don't give your customers the old landlord special?
No.
Code over everything?
It's funny you say that, Chris. I do not. So it's not that I'm against. I don't do low end work like that. I won't do it. I take pride in what I do. I like things to look nice, even though you can take a crappy place and make it look nice. Like you said, the landlord special. I mean,
we have
that's
lovely
horrible.
landlords, by the way.
To me, at somebody's home, I want it to look the best I can make it look for what they got for a budget and this and that. We work together. You know, I'm not just in there to sell the job and tell you move out of my way. You know.
So I got kind of a question that I think could open us up to maybe some fun discussion. Any memorable projects that were kind of funny things happened, or things happened with the homeowner that might be interesting to people to hear about, that are kind of fun to look back on now?
I don't know. There's always something that happens on every different job. But we had one job where the dog kept putting his tennis ball in the paint.
So what? You turn your back for a second?
Turned my back for a second, and I forget the dog's name, but he'd be nose deep in the paint to get his ball, and the homeowner Addy at the time, he's like, oh my God, he does this all the time, but I did not get away from the paint. He had paint on his snout, the dots everywhere with the tennis ball. We were like, oh my God.
He was a white lab, but he left a Dalmatian.
No, actually, it was a golden retriever, I believe. That was years ago, but yeah, we don't, we have fun on the jobs, but there's nothing crazy's really happened.
Yeah.
I have had some crazy things happen, like a new hire kicking a bucket of paint over on a brand new E-Pay deck, with the homeowner sitting in his corner office right there watching. And,
so I don't know. Am I supposed to laugh or cry on that?
I did not know what to do. I stood still and I just said, "Go get a hose." I was looking out at the ocean. Oh,
Well, it sounds like it might have been a pretty nice house.
it was a really nice house. So I'm looking at the ocean, talking to my employee who just kicked the paint over. He's like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "Go get the hose." The homeowner can't hear me. All of a sudden he runs, gets the hose. We hose it all down and scrub it out. It ended up, it ended up fine. But just, man, I'll tell you, you don't know what to do in those moments. You just got to clean it up and go on with your day. And he was happy that he actually thanked me that I dealt with it the way I did, because he thought I was going to throw the kid off the porch.
That might have been what he would have done, but
I don't know.
I've known you a long time. So.
Well, it was windy out, and that's another thing, guys. I mean, I never did a lot of work in real high wind areas, so drop clothing off a big deck like that was a learning experience for me too. So we had to, I wasn't used to the drop cloths going flying by you when you're painting the trim. You think you have them secure, but not down the Cape.
Ocean wind is different, isn't it?
Boy, yeah. So that
What's epoch? You just said an
E-Pay. It's a
E-Pay.
wood. It's a hardwood.
Is that from another country? Or
Very expensive hardwood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever worked with it before. I've worked with a lot of different stuff.
I'm not really fond of stripping it down and staining it. It's a really tough wood to drill through and sand.
It's a decking. We did do an E-Pay deck.
I was going to say, you don't know E-Pay. It's like it's like the new mahogany.
Yeah, we
Right.
did one. Larry did one about 3 years ago. It was just small, but that's right. We did do that, and we had to drill all the screw holes.
Oh yeah,
It was a lot, yeah.
I
But
have-
it looked awesome when we were done.
So they do, but they need to be maintained, and that's another thing with like hardwoods and stuff like that. When I do projects, I tell my customer, look, why wood? Why not composite? Well, we like the wood look. I said, well, you'll be maintaining this for the rest of its life.
Yeah.
Every 2, 3, 5 years, however, when it calls for. When it gets grungy and dirty, you're gonna have to clean it and restain it or top coat it. So a lot of my customers that do that, and they're like, oh yeah, we understand. Well, then let's get you on the 2-year maintenance program or the 3-year maintenance program. And I go out every year and redo I get a call every couple of years from clients in Acton and this and that. And yeah, come on out. It's that time. I've gone out and they still look like they don't need maintenance. So I say, well, we'll just wait till next year. And they're like, okay,
Oh,
sure
that's
you don't
great.
want to do it now? I mean, I'm not gonna do that to the client.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah. So
And what's the process? What do you power wash?
yeah, we'll wash it down, we'll address anything, and then we'll just top coat it. Most of it's like a stain, oil base, or, most of that's staining, not so much painting or solid body latex staining. I'm talking more clear coating. So.
All right, so I think I might know the answer to this. What's the most satisfying part to being a painter?
The outcome. For me, well, 90% of the time, it depends. Sometimes the customers can be tough, but for me, making something look better than it was, being hired to make this look the best you can make it, and then hearing someone say that looks beautiful, or that you can stand back and say, wow, did I just do that? Like, that's just the most satisfying thing. Knowing that I've worked with my hands to do it, and it's not just for the money.
The other cool part, at least when I do projects, it is for me too, is kind of it's about the journey a little bit, and that you come day one, you kind of see what you did at the end of day one. 2's coming up, you know what you got to do at the end of day 2. You kind of walk on, you're like, oh wow, that looks better. This I still got to get, and then 3/4 of the way through, you're like, John, this is starting to come together, huh? And I'm smiling ear to ear.
Just like the one we're working on now.
Yeah.
Amazing transformation.
Yeah.
Even people that were there before I even got there. I didn't see the first part of it, but they're like, whoa, walking in. Yeah, that's why I love it.
It's kind of like what you used to do in that. Something that I love too on the holidays is when you cook a meal and then you see someone
my first
enjoy
passion.
it. Oh, yeah.
That's my first love.
Oh, there's nothing better, right?
Yeah, creating a nice meal, a dish. Well, as you well know, I was a chef. That was my first passion, creating food. So maybe it just followed me into this industry.
I would imagine it did, yeah. Because your chocolate chip cookies are the best I've ever had.
My favorite. You should try my prime rib.
I've had that too, and it's very, very good. I've had your ribs many times as well.
Oh yeah.
My wife goes nuts about your big stuffed haddock too. Ooh, I don't like fish, but she goes nuts.
We just made that not too long ago.
How about any ridiculous requests customers have ever had? Or something unique, or something you had never done before, and you got a passion for it because it was something new?
Well, I had a guy one time wanted his custom shades, the valance at the top and everything. He wanted me to paint all that to match his doors, I believe. I'm like, he's spending tens of thousands of dollars on things, but he wants me to paint the shades. It was kind of strange. I mean, he could have just put up a new shade, but
yeah, he probably paid more to have you paint.
Absolutely.
Was it all about a color?
I don't know what it was. The color was I don't know what it was. He was just adamant about it. And I'm like, well, if you want to pay, no problem. I mean, yeah, stuff like that. People ask to paint, like I talked about door hinges and stuff. Well, can't we just paint them? Yes, you can. Will they hold up if you use like a Stix product or something like that? They might hold up for a while, but ultimately, no. You don't want to paint them, stuff like that.
Except for, of course, primed hinges,
Yeah.
like on a
yeah,
front
something
door
like that, but
or a side door.
I've been asked to paint furniture to match the motif because
Really?
Yeah, and I've done that, and I've had very good outcomes with that. One piece turns into two, and then next thing you know, this guy paints furniture too.
Wow.
And I've got into that.
So you can kind of take someone's dream and dial it right
Yeah,
in,
we
right
can make it
down to
happen
any
paint
guy.
wise, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've been around a lot of homes where I see things, different motifs like crown molding, with the ceilings painted the same color as the walls. Amazing look.
That is a cool
I
look.
love
I've
it.
seen
I'm a
that.
huge fan of it. It absolutely makes your crown molding look
Pop.
like a molding.
Yeah.
And the white ceiling, that people think they need to have their ceilings white. I don't know why people think that. You can do whatever you want. You can paint with any, I'm a huge fan of colored ceilings. I've sold it to a couple different customers and they were absolutely stunned.
Oh yeah, I've seen it and it looks.
And I actually
it really looks
would like
awesome.
to say I've learned it on one of your jobs.
So let me ask you this: when you do that, I know most ceiling paints are the
They're-
finish is
With
with
flat.
finish. When you do it with the walls, and let's say the walls have a matte,
Yeah.
do you do the same on the ceiling too, or
No.
do you change it to?
No, keep the sheen the same. That's another misconception with people. Oh, I want eggshell. I'm like, okay, the sheen? No, the color. No. All right, there's probably a color eggshell, but eggshell's a common sheen on a wall.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, yeah, a matte finish or a wall paint, I don't usually go over eggshell. Some satins in bathrooms and kitchens, but a
Yeah.
typical wall paint for us is a matte finish, flat finish on the ceilings, and a satin pearl on the trim.
That
To a
was nice.
semi-gloss, yeah, and believe it or not, when you do that, your ceiling does not look the same color as the wall.
Yeah.
Because it's a shadow, it's an angle play. It's just an amazing look that I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah. Yeah, you're making me think about
And then
some
again,
projects
it's
coming
personal.
up.
It's always personal preference.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Some people like green, some people like orange. I get that a lot too. Oh, what
Yeah.
color you think will go good? I'm like, one of these in this color deck. Whip out the color deck. Here you go, Sally, Jen, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Have fun with this. Don't overwhelm yourself.
That can happen
Oh
too. You
my
got
God.
people then because they have
Oh
so
my.
many options. They're there for 3
I've had
weeks.
jobs wait for months because they can't figure out a color. Which is
You know what I'm
fine.
noticing a lot? Tell me if you're noticing it too. Is white on white everywhere.
As simple as it sounds, it's not so simple.
But are you seeing it a lot? Like
Yeah.
I just saw it on a place in Florida when I was down there this winter,
Very
and it
common down
looked
there.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of work to it, so maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about that.
Well, again, it's like personal preference. A lot of people doing that have a lot of accents in their house, or a lot of artwork, or a lot of real colorful furniture
Yep.
that want, they want a nice white background. It does really look nice and fresh and clean. I wouldn't recommend doing like your outlets and all that white too. I mean, that's just a lot of white, in my opinion. Depending on what you're going for too, I've seen it. It's common in Florida. They do the walls are flat. They're straight down to the floor. There is no baseboards.
This had baseboard. It was white though.
But
But you were right about the
Well-
color because it was a white kitchen with a really high gloss white, like super high gloss
On the walls.
on the kitchen cabinets. But then the countertop was a blue granite,
Ooh.
and it looked
Yes.
like I'm not into blue granite, but this looked awesome.
So that's the thing. You create the white palette, and
Yeah.
there's, the options are endless for decorating your home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just white. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Some colors you're stuck with. You can only do certain colors with certain colors. I've learned that over the years. Pick the big room and work off that with colors. Go from dark to light or light to dark. Stuff like that.
I love what you're saying because it just shows your love of your job and that
Yeah.
you're like,
I've also.
well,
Yeah.
you can do anything you want with pictures and furniture when it's all white. I never thought of that. I just was like, oh,
Well,
white
a lot of
looks
people
awesome.
don't. They don't, because I'll walk in and we'll go through the house and I'll be like, okay, no, yes, we'd love to do the project, Kevin. I go, so there's only one thing we ask every customer: if you could take all your stuff off your walls and stuff. You know what I mean? Oh, well, I don't plan on using that anymore. You know, so they're planning on rearranging. Or some people are like, well, they want a certain color, but all their old farm pictures and this and that are gonna match that color, and they don't realize that. And I usually talk about that stuff.
Oh, that's
in
wow,
my,
that's
in my
cool.
estimates. I'll be like, well, do you plan on using this again, or are you keeping that hutch? You know, because the color you chose kind of, you know, I'm just letting you know so you're not upset, or, you know, oh no, we plan on buying new furniture or this or that. And usually that's what happens. But I like to keep my customers informed and, you know, give them things to think about that, like you just said. They don't think about stuff like that, and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're planning on doing a floor and painting, but they do the floor before the painting. You know, a lot of people don't like.
No,
I mean, I understand it, depending though too.
Yeah.
If you're in an environment where you're gonna spray,
yeah,
you can spray before the floor, but
yeah,
if you put the floor in, tape up tight, you
Yeah.
get that real nice spray finish on all your baseboards too,
Yeah.
instead of really taking your time and flowing it out with a brush, which still looks phenomenal. But there's
I'll
different
tell you, I
things
love
and there's
spray.
different stuff you can do, and it's all about, you know, what the budget is and what people are looking for, and it's all customized. Every job is a different thing, different people, different budgets, you know.
So now we've talked a lot about interior work.
Yep.
Maybe some misconceptions, or maybe some of your professional opinions on when you're scraping or power washing and you're noticing some things. Tell me a little bit about some of the things you know about that homeowners may not, as far as exteriors.
Yeah, that things will fly off your house that you never would think would fly off your house.
Yeah.
Especially with pressure washing. So yeah, like good question actually, because before I pressure wash a house, I let people know that stuff. I'll walk around the house, and if I see a soft spot or something that looks like it's loose, or a lot of moss and stuff on the roof, I will tell them straight out, look, I can put some chemicals on there and rinse it, but you do not want to pressure wash the roof. You'll negate your warranty. A lot of people don't know that. Some people don't care. They're like, oh, there's brown or whatever, but a lot of people don't know that. And then
It can actually create a leak.
oh yeah,
If the moss is bad enough.
you can, and if you're spraying up the shingles and they're all flapping, yeah.
Yeah.
It's same with vinyl siding. You
Yeah.
want to spray down with on it. You
Yeah.
don't want to lift it. And, you know, stuff like that. And then, you know, if you see things, I'll tell them, look, I'm going to wash the house, but we might have to remove this. You want to remove shutters and stuff, of course. If you're going to be doing the project, you don't want to wash them on the house, pull them off, and there's dirt and grime and you know.
Yeah.
Oh, why do you need? Can you just wash them on the house? I can, but I'm making twice the work for myself. There's just a lot of things, and then, you know, grungy cement and stuff like that. We'll clean up walkways. I'll let them know. I'll be like, look, it might look a little muddy. We'll clean it. You know, some people agree to it. Some people say leave it alone. There's just all kinds of host of things that I walk people through. I like to be thorough. I don't like to just be like, yep, we'll wash it. And then things happen, and then, you know, why is my floodlight in the neighbor's yard? Because it wasn't attached to the house.
One screw into the siding, and that's it. Holding on by a prayer.
Yeah, I mean, we just set out to do the best possible job in everything we do. Like, yeah, and if we don't know something, a question, I'll research it and go to experts that I know that have been doing it for a long time. Get the knowledge, go back to them and say, this is what I know.
That's awesome.
I know.
That's so smart.
Instead of just bullshitting people,
Yeah.
you know, it's so much easier just to be honest.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you don't know. You just say, geez, I don't know. That's a good question, but I'm going to find out for you by tomorrow or the next day, and we'll go over it together.
That's
Stuff
awesome.
like that.
Smart. Yeah, that's exactly how
Because
you do
I
it.
don't know everything, but
No.
I know quite a bit.
I mean, painting, walkway clearing, power washing. You're like a lawnmower away from being HOA's best friend.
Yeah, well, so it all comes with the finish. I'm a finish guy. I'm sometimes the first guy in after the plaster is, to paint the walls, and then I come in at the end. And I'm the last guy you see.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times.
Which I love because you have a good eye for detail and you bring things to.
Yeah, or the electrician might have missed something,
Yeah.
or somebody might have missed something. Well, I'm up close and personal with every inch of your house.
I love that. Yeah.
And that would be, you asked me about the exterior. I did want to touch on
Yeah.
spraying versus brushing.
Yeah, you had mentioned something about
I'm a
wire
guy-
brush
Well,
in certain circumstances.
I'm not a big fan of spraying exteriors. I know,
Okay.
I know it's people love the look of it,
Yeah.
but,
I feel like you just started a comment war.
well, spraying's beautiful. It looks beautiful, but it doesn't work to paint into the wood. A lot of guys say, "Yeah, we spray and back brush." I'm like, "Oh, why do two things when you can just do one?
Just brush.
Just brush it.
Yeah.
Get up close and personal with your work." There's a lot of cracks and crevices and things that can't be filled in with a sprayer. I'm not a fan of it. Will I do it? Absolutely. On certain projects, you can do it as long as you prepped and primed things right and you know it's going to stick. Old asphalt shingles and stuff on a lot of these old buildings, those hold that spray real well, so I'd chance it there. But guys are out selling spray jobs, and then 3 years later, the house is peeling, and they want to know why. It's because it's laying on your house. It's not worked into. So, yeah. When choosing a painter, I would ask them how they're going to apply the paint, because a lot of guys will give you prices, and you never even ask the question, and they show up, and there's 15 guys taping up your windows, and they're just spraying your house, and they're like, "Okay, we're done painting," yeah, it happens a lot, and it looks beautiful and this and that, but it comes off the house. And I've been called to certain jobs where this has happened, and we have to fix it, and that's just something you don't want to get into, because
It's so funny. I see this all the time when we go out to houses and talk to clients and stuff. And we usually end up right about the middle of the road price-wise.
yeah,
We're not the highest, we're not the least expensive.
yeah,
But, like, the hardest thing to kind of, and I don't say I told you so, but we've gone back to so many jobs that people said no at first, and then we go back. And I try to explain to them the first time that if it's a lower price, there's a reason why.
yeah.
There's always a reason why. You just a lower price doesn't just happen for the same
No.
work or the same detail. And yeah, so you probably run
I
into
was
that.
actually, in my mind, when I was talking about that, referring to a guy that when I went to the estimate,
Yeah,
I was easily $3,000 or $4,000 higher than the last guy.
right.
And he said to me, throughout my process of talking to him about the job and everything, he when he called and told me he was going to go with me, he says, "Kevin, you are far more expensive than the other guy, but what sold me was the fact that you're brushing my house."
Yeah.
Because the other guy was going to spray it.
Yep.
He said that was the deciding factor, the quality of the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I said, "Well, I tell you,
That's good that he recognized it.
Well, I could have sprayed it for, I could have sprayed it too, but
Yeah.
that's just what we don't do that. So, and he was best paint job the house ever seen. He said, and he'd painted it himself previously, like 10
Oh, wow.
years prior. And yeah, so I went up them.
So you beat the homeowner.
I beat the homeowner. I love when I do that. Because then you get a customer for life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I don't always look. I love relationships with the customers and future paint work.
Exactly.
And yeah. Seems
So
to be working.
that one actually worked out where the guy understood that
Yeah.
it was more work and he was willing to pay. I've had it work out that way, but a lot of times people believe you can get the same quality for less money, and a lot of times it just doesn't work out, and we're back there, and now they're paying double.
I believe he said at the end of the job, see you in 10 years.
That's perfect. Yeah.
See you in 10 years.
Yeah.
Look, okay.
So when was that? Is 10 years up yet?
Jeez. Actually, John, that's
You may have to call him.
Clock's
probably
ticking.
been about 6 anyways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
6 years? Yeah. It's been a while.
Well,
So many of them.
anything else you think that would be real important for homeowners to know?
Well, you wanna protect yourself. So whoever you're gonna hire to do these projects, you wanna make sure they're licensed. If they have to be licensed for what they're doing, but you definitely wanna make sure they have liability insurance and workman's comp. A lot of people get it confused. They think, oh yeah, I have insurance. Yeah, I have insurance too, but I also have workman's comp, which protects the homeowners from getting sued and all that. I mean, it's just a peace of mind for the homeowner.
Yep.
You can hire, like you said, the guy for $500 or the guy for $1,000. The guy for $1,000 is a reason he's running a legit business, doing the right things, taxes wise, payroll, all that. The guy for $500, he might be the same. He might come in and do the job phenomenal for $500, but if he falls and breaks his leg in his house, anything can happen.
That's right.
If you want peace of mind, do a little background check, make sure a legit business, for your own safety.
Yeah, now, and like you said, ask to see the certificate.
Yeah,
of
have your
insurance for
have your
comp
insurance
and
certificate
liability.
emailed right over on the spot. Call the
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
that's anything else, Kev? Before I'm glad I asked. That's a great.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people don't think of that, and then it's like, oh, I had this guy, and he broke my window, and and it's like, oh, my insurance covers that stuff. So I mean, if I put a ladder through your window, it's getting replaced on my dime, not yours.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not disappearing,
Yeah, right. Boy, disappearing.
Yeah, that's another one. A
So,
disappearing acts.
Chris, talk
Happens
to
all
me.
the time, man. Happens all.
Yeah, what have we, in the last week? What have we gotten for phone calls?
I can't tell you. We must have had 4, maybe 5 people calling us, telling us, client, we're the second contractor. Contractors come in, they've started work. We had one person not even put the roof in. He's gone. They're like, I need a contractor to close my house up. I was like, it's,
150 grand later.
Oof.
yeah.
That's again.
And
protect yourself.
Yeah.
Protect yourself. Do your little research before.
So important, and like Kevin said, if it's a licensed project where you're hiring someone that needs to have a license, make sure they have it. Check their comp, their liability. So important. And you know what I tell people too is if you do something with someone licensed and they're pulling the permit, call the building department 3 or 4 days later. Make sure they actually put the permit in. Sometimes it's not complete because different inspecting companies or building departments look for different certain things. But at least make sure that when they said they put the permit in, that they really did.
Right.
Because it's just something I'm in the middle of working with someone right now out in northern Mass, and they never did any of that. Come to find out, the guy they hired with the contract was not the licensed contractor. The licensed contractor was a friend that never showed up on the job, but he pulled the permit for it. So you want to make sure those two things kind of tie together. And there's one other thing that we did last week. We did a whole podcast on how you do your research to choose a contractor. And one thing I failed to mention is there's so many companies out there, Kev, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And they're construction companies.
Yeah.
And let's just say one of them has a contractor's license. Usually they're not very old ones, but they got one 5-6 years ago or whatever. These companies are run by businessmen. None of them have ever done construction before. They're real good at sales and marketing, but they don't know anything about construction. You could walk them over and show them something, and they're gonna have some sales closing line for it, but don't understand the nuts and bolts of it.
Don't know how to execute it.
Exactly, or don't even know what they're looking at, Kevin.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so thankful to work with you, because I love that you're the last guy.
Yeah.
I love that you're the last one that's on our projects, because you see everything. You let either me or Kevin know. We're the two management leads, and
Absolutely.
we're able to catch things before we introduce a final product, and he is locally the best at his job, and he comes in right in between the real low guy who doesn't know what they're doing and the real high guy who thinks he should charge an exorbitant amount because he's been doing it a while. And Kev's right in the middle of the road. He does a really good job. We're so thankful for him.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I've learned a lot over the years, so that's just up my game,
Yeah.
Working with you guys, learning different parts of the trade, like for instance, a tile guy has to come in and put in tile, and the electrician was there, we all talked together, and I have no problem putting a couple screws in. I mean, why call the electrician back to do that? We work together.
Yeah.
I know things now. If I ever saw that on another job, I'd know what to do now. I could
Yeah.
be helping somebody else out. It's all about, like I said, it's all about
That's our team. So many homeowners comment on that. Oh wow, everybody kind of works together with you guys, and
We're looking out for each other.
yeah. And in the office too. It's kind of that same cross-pollinate commitment to excellence, in that Chris is amazing. He's he manages all of our advertising, but he also can do
He's been on the job site. I've seen Chris on the job site.
But he can do other things in the office that are not in his job description.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something that I think is a great way to do things. So.
Yeah.
And we're thankful for you as well.
Amen. Absolutely. Good addition to the team. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but once again, we're at that time. I'm so sorry, everybody out there watching, that we're at the end. But I'm going to ask everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget comments. Please ask questions. Kevin's going to be reviewing the questions at the end of the week. If they're painting questions, we'll get you the answers. I'm sure he'll be back on at some point. And we love your comments. It actually could produce an actual podcast based on a question that you guys ask.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
KMF Painting, excellence in the industry.
So thank you very much.